Hello, welcome to this week's video, which is all about uncovering the narcissist within yourself. Controversial topic, I know, nobody wants to look at it, but we're going to look at the shadow self and the narcissism that's within us, that's maybe buried within the shadow aspect of the psyche. All of us have narcissistic traits and tendencies and narcissism. It's part of self-worth, it's part of self-esteem to have a healthy level of narcissism. But our narcissism can also kind of work against us a little bit sometimes and can also get triggered, for want of a better word, and we can see it revealed in our everyday life. To understand this further, we need to understand the concept of the shadow self, which was a concept created by Jung, whereby he said that everything that we don't like about ourselves, we don't like to acknowledge that we have that aspect of self, we relegate into something he called the shadow, which has archetypes in, but we push it into the shadow side of the self. So it's buried into the unconscious behind us. It doesn't always have to be negative aspects of self, but often in there is anger, rage, murderous thoughts. Sometimes love is in there as well. If we've been wounded, we don't want to love again, so we will become unlovable or unloving. We push that into the shadow self because we don't want to realize that aspect of ourself. We could become like I said, cold. Maybe we don't want to experience joy anymore. It's also unlived parts of self. So the unlived creative part of self, the unlived artist, the unlived musician, the unlived, I don't know, carpenter, the unlived, whatever it is that you have been holding back, that you don't think you're good enough to do, that you're not perhaps, say, like brave enough to step into the light with, or you're not, brave is maybe the wrong word, you don't have enough self-confidence to step into the light with an unlived aspect of self, it will be in the shadow. What we then do is we project our shadow out. So how do we see this? How do we do it? Well, take for instance, if you take an immediate dislike to someone and a very, very strong dislike to someone, chances are it tells you more about yourself than it does about them. I'll give you an example. Let's say you've spent most of your childhood being told not to be arrogant, not to be boastful, not to be too big, not to be too kind of in everybody's face, not to be kind of too proud of yourself. And you then witness someone who you don't really know being loud, arrogant, boastful, taking up space, and you have an instant dislike for them. But not only do you have an instant dislike, it's quite an overreaction, if you like. It's quite a strong, powerful reaction. Like, I really don't like that person. They really wind me up. And you know you don't particularly know them. It says a lot more about you, as I said, than it does about them. Chances are you are seeing your shadow self reflected in their outward behavior. And the key here is that you don't particularly know them. Now, let's say you knew them and somebody started like acting like that. You might take a strong dislike to that. Someone with a healthy kind of, let's say, not healthy is the wrong word. Someone who perhaps doesn't have that sitting in the shadow self may well look at someone who's behaving a little bit arrogant and, you know, larger than life and all the rest of it and go, it's just them. You know, it's a bit irritating, but hey, whatever, it's their bag. That's not a projection of their shadow. They're just kind of like, I'm not particularly a big fan of that behavior, but it doesn't particularly grate on me or make me strongly dislike them or like them. So you're looking for the strong reaction. You're looking for the overreaction to something that you see. If you see perhaps someone, I don't know, up on the stage singing or being creative or having an art display in a gallery, or they are doing perhaps a job that you want to do, or they're perhaps, I don't know, they're busy making Instagram videos about cooking vegetarian meals or whatever it might be, and you're kind of like, yeah, it's shit, I really don't like it, I wouldn't have done it that way, blah, 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 blah. Chances are it's a projection of your shadow. It's something you've not allowed yourself to do. It's something you've relegated because, like I said, you either haven't quite got the self-confidence, or you haven't given yourself permission to do it yet. And there you are projecting it or seeing it projected on someone else by what they are doing, and your projection is then jealousy and envy, and to kind of like devalue what they are doing, and it will be quite a strong reaction. So this is a sign that you are seeing your shadow self, and this is a sign that this is lying within you. Now, when it comes to being within relationships, which are quite complex, and I'm not talking about being in a relationship with a narcissist and being at the mercy of their manipulation, abuse, and control. I'm talking about two individuals in a relationship who have fairly healthy levels of narcissism, but maybe a few issues that they need to deal with. You may well demand from the other something that you want them to give you. And you may well react in certain ways, maybe perhaps not particularly great, when you don't get it. So let's say you have a previous trauma. Let's say you have rejection issues. Let's say it stems from your parents abandoning you or something like that, or rejecting you or telling you you're not good enough. You may well find your partner, I don't know, criticize something that you do, give you some kind of feedback, or ask you to improve something about the way they're behaving, the way you're behaving, sorry, and you boom, come straight in with quite a lot of anger, quite a lot of aggression, if you like, and maybe an overreaction. And then, of course, your partner may well pick up and go, hey, what's wrong with you? Which then kind of exaggerates the situation. And before you know it, you guys are in a full-blown argument. This is your shadow side being kind of brought out by your reaction. This is also previous hurt, pain, trauma, something you carry with you, which is being triggered forward, and therefore it is kind of a projection of your narcissistic self, which is kind of buried in the shadow aspect. I don't want to feel rejected. I don't want this. I don't want to be criticized. How dare you criticize me? Don't criticize me. And then boom, out it comes. It's part of your shadow. This is an indicator within, it's a good indicator that's occurred within the relationship, that there's an aspect of yourself that you may well need to look at, work on with a therapist or whatever, some kind of healer, guru, where you can look at this shadow side of self, something that's buried, something that happened to you from the past that devalued you in some way or gave you hurt and pain, which you don't want to experience again. So you don't go looking for it. When it occurs in the relationship, it brings all of that forward, which has been relegated into the shadow, brought out, and it's brought out of the shadow and out into the room, and then other shadow aspects of self like anger, rage, and all the rest of it come out. And as is quite well known, anger is an umbrella reaction to generally feeling pain and hurt. When we feel pain and hurt and we are upset, we tend to react with anger because we want the threat to go away. We want the person who's causing us pain or the thing that's causing us pain to go away. What's the quickest way to get it to go away? Well, not by adding more vulnerability into it and going, oh, you've really hurt me, please can you stop doing that? No. That's too difficult, too risky, too frightening. No, the best way to push it away is to become aggressive. The best fight fire with fire. There's a transgression against me. I'm going to transgress and get back against you. I'm going to be aggressive to get you to go away. If my aggression pushes you down, I rise up. It's kind of narcissistic stuff at play. It's shadow self at play. It's narcissistic because it's all about you and you are not seeing the reality for what it is, which is someone may well have given you some kind of, feedback like, hey, I don't like the way you're behaving. Or, I don't know, your partner's achieved something and you're actually jealous and envious, or it's made you feel kind of lesser. And it's not actually anything they've done directly to you, but what it's done is triggered the inner narcissist, triggered the shadow to come forward, and there you come forward with your aggression to cover over your hurt to push them back down. Doesn't make you a narcissist, doesn't make you a horrible person. What it does mean is that you're actually a person with some wounds that need looking at, that you can heal. So, okay, this is all really well and good. Now I understand this. Thanks for telling me this, Simon. But what do I do with it? How do I work with it? How do I stop this from happening? How do I stop my partner from triggering me? Well, again, is to notice it. Is to notice when you're getting triggered. If you suffer with jealousy and envy, say like your partner's achievements or your friend's achievements, and you notice that and you're cold and hostile and you're maybe a little bit devaluing or dismissive even, like, yeah, great, well done you, yeah, really pleased for you. Anyway, did I tell you X, Y, and Z, and so-and-so's done really well? So, it's about noticing your reactions. It's if your partner gives you some kind of, like I say, like, hey, I don't really like your behavior right now. It's, bit off kilter. Can we talk about this because it keeps happening? And you come forward with anger and you're pushing in, you're very defensive. This is, again, it's a sign that you need to look. There's something you need to look at. I don't like using the word particularly here, just trauma, but there's an old trauma. There's something from the past where you were either rejected or devalued in some way, or abandoned even, criticized, never good enough. For a certain significant figure in your life, and that is now being brought forward by something which actually may well be quite constructive and quite innocent and actually quite caring and loving, like, hey, and also the other person's kind of trying to maturely say, whoa, this keeps happening, you keep doing this, can we work on this, can we sort something out? They're offering support, but they're also saying at the same time, this isn't a particularly desirable behavior of yours. So, like I say, when you find yourself being like this, overreacting, reacting very strongly, very strong emotions towards things, very strong opinions, now you can kind of go, well, okay, what happened there? I think it might have been an expression of my shadow. Literally, maybe say it like that. You can do shadow journaling. You can kind of work on it in a journal. You can start discussing it with yourself. You can work with a therapist on it. A great outlet for shadow stuff is creativity. So, for instance, emotions can be expressed via artwork, via writing, via poetry. Emotions and feelings can be expressed via music. You can also use meditation, yoga, breathing exercises, deep introspection, all of these things. But what you need to be able to do is to be honest with yourself. Actually, I did overreact here. Actually, I do feel jealousy and envy towards my partner, my best friend, for their achievements. What is this telling me about me? Because what it's doing is it's bringing out the narcissistic side of me and the perhaps aggressive side of me, or the upset side of me, or the sad side of me, and I'm going to take some of the energy away from them and devalue them somehow, take some of that energy away. So what is it about me and my history and my workings and my kind of attributes and my thought processes and the filters I place on the world? What is it about those that is at play here? And how can I heal it? How can I express it? Because often, like I said, the shadow is unlived parts of self. We don't allow ourselves to be angry. We don't allow ourselves to be jealous. We don't allow ourselves to be an artist. We don't allow ourselves time to be creative or time for whatever it is that we want to do. So it becomes unlived and it will explode out at certain points, and often uncontrollably. And it just needs that trigger. It just needs that to light the touch paper, and out it comes. That's the moment where you then grab hold of it later on, forgive yourself, and then start doing some of the work on it and exploring it and expressing it. So it's only a short video. I hope it really helps and gives you a bit of a glimpse into the shadow side of self, and maybe the more sort of, like I say, the more narcissistic aspects of self that we all have. And until next time, please take very good care of yourselves. Adios.